Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call our Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, July 21st to order at 5:34. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for making the time during the summer to do the most important work that we do as a board and help to improve our schools. I'd like to welcome Ms. Bennington, who's serving as our interim superintendent for the next week.
6 days.
6 days, but who's counting?
No one.
Lisa's not here to do roll call, so Lisa, I'm sorry, in your absence, I'm not going to do roll call. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to take notes as to who's here because she does it very thoroughly. I may ask for a motion to approve the agenda as revised and sent out. Thank you, Mr. Schuman. Seconded by Mr. Zabrowski. All in favor? Thank you. Anybody opposed or abstaining? Excellent. I don't think we have any correspondence. Nothing? I didn't receive anything. Is anybody here that would like to provide a public comment? Okay. Look, we're moving right on really quick. Reports from the liaison for the Town Council, Board of Finance, CMS Building Committee, and Public Assets and Facilities Committee. Town Council. Mr. Zabrowski, do we have any updates from the Town Council?
Nothing significant. I was actually
Matt.
Wow. Think of me forgetting a mic. That's unheard of. I was actually unable to attend the last meeting, but I did submit notes to the mayor so he could share our feedback there. It was mostly starting dates for new leadership. They didn't really hit upon anything necessarily significant to the board. They're doing their town manager search. They had a couple of new appointees that they approved, but nothing that's necessarily gonna come into play here.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Zabrowski? Okay. Oh, well, Ann, if you go to the microphone, then we can hear you, and Lisa can capture it for the minutes. Right there, and just click the button on the bottom. Welcome.
I am so sorry. I totally forgot. I sent an email weeks ago to have you added to the list, and then
click the little button on the bottom so your light will go on, and then you're good. Thank you. Welcome, Ann.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate being the new liaison from the Town Council. I look forward to being the liaison and just wanted to introduce myself. So my name is Ann Hulick.
Welcome, Ann, and thank you for being the liaison to the Board of Ed. We appreciate it. And next meeting, we'll make sure that we recognize both you and Mr. Zabrowski because he's our liaison to you. So thank you.
Thank you for all your great work.
Oh, glad to have you join us, Ann. Okay. Board of Finance. Catherine is not here. Mrs. Russ isn't here tonight. I don't have any Board of Finance updates. Did anybody participate in their last meeting? Okay. So we're going to skip Board of Finance. CMS Building Committee. Anything new on CMS Building Committee, Mrs. Lamb?
Nothing new. Our next meeting is tomorrow.
Oh, all right. Public Asset and Facilities Committee. Mr. Heisman, what's going on with the Public Asset and Facilities Committee? That group does meet regularly.
So we had a meeting on, when was it? I don't even have the date. About 2.5 weeks ago now, and there was a lot of discussion about the WIS fields, and the town council is also looking at that. So that took up a good portion of the meeting, going over those plans and looking at what was going on with that. There was some talk about sidewalk connectivity in town, and then the big thing that would affect us is we're going to be conducting inspections of all the fields and facilities on the exterior of the buildings. We've already been through all the buildings, so we're just going to take kind of inventory and see what needs improvement and kind of where things are at and have a status on everything. That'll be happening before the end of the summer. And then the other big piece of discussion was the language that we're about to talk about here shortly. So,
which we put separately under action items, right?
Yep.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Any other town collaboration updates that anyone has? Okay, I don't. So I'm going to move us on to new business. We have an indoor air quality report, which is reference A, and it's informational. But Mr. Pisano, can you just give us a little bit of information about why we're receiving this and what we should be looking at?
Good evening, everyone. The indoor air quality report is a mandate created by the state beginning this year that 20% of 20% of the schools in each district be tested for indoor air quality every year. So we end up in a 5-year cycle before we get back to the original one. Fortunately, we only have 4 schools, so we'll do 4 years and then have a skip year, and then we'll start the process again. The Wood School was the first one that we've done. You've received the report. Overall, the school is in great shape. They have made some recommendations. One of them, and probably the largest one, is they recommend that we upgrade the controls in the building. That's a large expense. We currently have Tucker Mechanical, who's our HVAC contractor, reviewing all the notes in that report, and they're going to provide us feedback on what can be done, what can't be done, and what potential costs could be. We've received funding through this year's CNR to do the next school, which will be the high school.
Thank you, Mr. Pisano. Does anyone have any questions about the report or any questions? You look like you do, Matt. Okay, Mr. Zabrowski.
So is it a recommendation or a directive to upgrade the controls?
It's a recommendation.
Okay, so we'll investigate. We'll see if it's really necessary. But is there any consequence if we don't?
We continue operating the way we are now.
Okay, thank you.
Matt. I never.
It's really more of does it have to be immediate, or is this something we could plan out over a couple of years, based on the recommendations? That was really kind of what I was getting at.
Once we receive feedback from Tucker Mechanical, I'll be able to provide an update the next meeting. One of the things that is important as part of this process is, one, that has to be shared to the board, it has to be put on the school website so that parents can see it also, and it goes to the state to make sure we're compliant. They will not give out any construction grants unless we're compliant in this area of indoor air quality. So it's very important to have this done and completed.
I just don't remember our history. So did we do a school last year?
No, this was our
This is the
first school.
This is a new requirement.
Yes.
Okay.
It became a requirement July 1 of 2026.
Okay. And what's our schedule for the other schools? What are we doing next year?
The high school.
High school. Okay.
It's in
Okay.
the CNR. It was approved through the CNR.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Lamb has a question.
I was looking in the appendix I assume it's the results, and the last column in each of, so starting on page 24, the last column on each of the pages, there's a question about the code satisfied, and there's a lot of no's. Does that mean that we should be investigating this sooner rather than later to upgrade?
We should be investigating to see what actually is not being met in the code and how we meet that.
Okay.
Most schools are grandfathered in. Any code updates that's occurred since the school was built doesn't come into effect until a new school is built. So if the school was built in 2005 and there was a code update in 2010, there's no requirement that every single building, every single school in the state has to go and upgrade it. They recommend that you do. Again, these are recommendations to bring it up to the new code, but we're not mandated that this has to be done.
Okay, but the air quality itself meets standards.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the biggest things that I found in the report, for instance, is there's a couple offices that are not getting enough air exchange rate. And that's a tricky thing because the new systems today that are out there, that's why the recommendation of controls is they monitor the CO2 in the room.
Okay.
So if there's a class or a classroom full of students, it'll monitor the CO2 and effectively increase the airflow so there's enough air exchanges to bring that CO2 level down. Right now, we just have a status quo, whether it's occupied or not, it's still running on one constant cycle.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. I don't think you should leave though, Mr.
No, I'm
Fasano,
not
because I
leaving.
think you're next on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have an update on the CHS track project and the ECS bathroom modifications. So will you start with track?
Track.
Thank you.
As you've seen from the report, it has been done and completed. It looks great. There are photos attached. I've collaborated with the town, Lou Spina and John Harriman. I brought them in the beginning before the contractor started any work. We reviewed what the process was going to be, when the work was going to be done. We were all on the same page. It's completed. I have reached out to Lou Spina. He sent me back an email saying it looks great. We're done. Finally. There's still some minor details, but the track is done. We want to do some edging around the track and some gate work on there and some mats so kids can cross the track with cleats without damaging it. And we've also talked to the town about making sure that tractors are not, the mowing tractors are not going across the track and creating other damage.
Well, thank you and congratulations. It was a
Thanks.
big project.
It was.
So thank you everybody for your support of that project, because I know that was something that we really wanted to do for our kids.
It was great that the town and the Board of Ed got together to raise the funding to create this project. It
Absolutely.
was sorely needed.
Great example of collaboration. I agree. Where did we land budget-wise? Because I know there were some
Within budget.
within budget.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Well, we were worried if we started to rip it up that there could be something underneath that might cause us to spend a lot more money.
The
So
only additional thing that came up through the process was the pole vault stanchions that are in the ground. Once they removed the rubber around it, those boxes were loose, so we replaced those, but we carried a contingency for that.
any questions on the track? It looks really nice. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay. You want to talk to us about ECS bathrooms, and maybe just, if you don't mind, a little background on that for anybody that is not familiar. I got to do a walkthrough with the Facilities and Assets Committee, so I know what this is, but others might not.
Sure. I don't know how far back you want me to go, but
I
originally,
mean, just summary.
just a summary. There are 2 kindergarten classrooms that share a single-use bathroom in between the 2 classrooms. One of the challenges is there's not enough. Only 1 bathroom for 2 classrooms, so we're talking about 40 kids, and these are the little kids, so they can't go down the hallway to a bathroom on their own. They have to be accompanied by someone. So that's why these bathrooms were created. At some point, when the school went from a middle school, I believe that was first, to this elementary school, there was a renovation done, which created this bathroom in between his 2 classrooms. But the staff is finding that is not enough. They proposed if we can install 2 toilets in there with a divider. We went to the town. First, the electricians went and the plumbers went to the town, and the building official turned down the proposal because it doesn't meet the new code. I went and talked to him and explained the situation that we're in and how it would benefit, and to see if we could come up with a solution, and none was provided. When we did the walkthrough with the committee, there was talk from some members of the committee that they might have some insights and would reach out to the town, but I have not heard anything back. You remember, Steve?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either, but we can definitely discuss further. If you want to kind of keep going, I don't know.
Yeah. So at this point, that project is stopped and not going to occur unless we have a building official that comes in and approves the design.
Okay. So is this something we're looking to ask the town to support and, collaborate with us to think about a little differently? How can we make this work? I went through those bathrooms with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a large space. but there's only one toilet, and that does not work for the littles that are.
Yeah, there's one
Some of
toilet
them
and
are-
one sink.
Yeah, it's definitely not an efficient use of space.
Yeah,
and-
we had proposed to remove one of the, there's a toilet and a sink in there, to remove the sink, make it 2 toilets and put a divider in between so there's privacy for both, with the fact that the classrooms themselves have a sink in them, and that wasn't acceptable. So unless someone redesigns it, we hire an architect and it goes to the state, and the state building official provides us a variance, we're stuck.
So this is one of the benefits of the Facilities and Asset Committee is there's a lot of people beyond just Board of Ed members that want to figure this out. I am meeting with the chair tomorrow, so I'll raise this issue again tomorrow and see if maybe both the Board of Ed and the Facilities and Asset Committee can work with town officials to try to figure out some alternative solution.
I've asked the town official to come and show me how we can get this done. And he said that's not what he does. We present them with the plan, and then he'll tell you whether you can do it or not, but he won't give us a plan that'll work.
Okay, and maybe we don't want them to give us a plan, but certainly collaboration is not a request that I think they'd turn down. So I can follow up with Mayor Dimitriadis about that and see if there's some way that we could work together, because
That would
these,
be
these
great.
little kids and the teachers are, of course, and understandably stressed out by moving down the hallway with every child that needs to use a restroom. So we want to make this work better for our youngest students.
That'd be great.
Okay, so between Steve, myself, and I'll talk to the mayor.
Do we have any existing plans for that bathroom by any chance? Like as-built plans? Or can you like maybe get us a sketch of just like square footage size and like rough placement of where the plumbing fixtures currently are?
But that was given, the plumber created one
He's
of
got
those
one?
and gave it to the town, the building official, before we start the project to get a permit. But I
Okay.
can track it down.
Yeah, if you
and share
could,
it.
that'd be great. And then might
And
be
if
able
not-
to get some pro bono
Yeah.
work.
If
someone
not,
to
I
look
can,
at it.
I can find the plans and take a snapshot of that area.
Yeah.
And see what kind of information is on there.
Okay.
Sure.
And then the other thing as far as bathrooms, right, and we don't have to get into full discussion on this now, but something we need to consider for the building facility, the Board of Ed building facility, excuse me, is I want to say it's the 2nd grade hallway. The boys' room has 2 broken urinals in it
Correct.
that don't function, so that's something I think, it's been like that for years, so it's something we should probably look at addressing.
Yeah. That's considered a major project because it's the old style urinals where they go,
Into the
they're
floor.
tall, they go right into the ground and it
Yeah.
drains into the ground and it's concrete floor.
Yeah.
So you,
Yeah, it'd be a huge, it wouldn't be a small project, but it's something that we should start discussing, long term here, or a little longer term, right, over the next couple of years to get addressed.
Are those on our CNR requests?
no, they're not at this time.
Okay, so then I guess my request would be that we consider that when we look at CNR requests in the future, given the importance of having access to bathrooms, especially in our elementary school, and see
Yeah.
if, I understand they're expensive, but it's probably worth the investment.
Yeah.
And then maybe if we can't get any headway on the bathrooms for I think it's the preschool program,
Correct.
we might want to invest in an architect to come in and take a look. I think it would be worth our,
I think that's
resources.
our best start is hiring an architect or plumbing engineer to look at both of those issues, and at least give us an idea of what can be done and a rough estimate, so that when we do go to the CNR, at least we have a number.
so I guess I'm going to turn that into I'm going to ask for a motion on that, just so that we can say we support those, because that's not in our current budget too.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Steve, and then Lori.
I work with several architects, and I probably could get someone to take a look at it and at least give us a rough idea. So that's where my head was going
Okay.
at first. So before we spend any additional funds, let's see if I can squeeze something out of someone at work.
For free?
Yeah.
That's our favorite word around here, so we'll take it. Words. Mrs. Cantwell.
Just to clarify, when you were first talking about that, you said it was between the kindergarten rooms or is it you just said preschool, so,
We're talking about two different sets of bathrooms.
so these are two separate bathrooms. So there's a preschool issue and a kindergarten
So it's
issue.
Yes.
preschool and is it second grade, Lucille?
Second grade.
Yeah, second,
Second
all
grade is the one you were originally talking
No.
about with the
No.
one toilet.
Pre-K.
No, I'm sorry, kindergarten.
Yeah.
Kindergarten was.
Kindergarten or preschool,
Pre-K.
the lower age
It's
students.
pre-K. It's
Pre-K.
it's the pre-K.
Oh, it's the pre-K. That's my question.
Okay.
It's pre-K.
Yeah, it's pre-K, so
And
there's
between-
a facility in the room.
So how many students are using that bathroom? The original one that you're talking about where there's only one bathroom for the two classrooms? How
Two-
many?
Two classrooms. I don't have the exact number, but it has to be between 30 and 40.
Mrs. DeTuno might know. Mrs. DeTuno, do you mind just going to the mic if you happen to? You could clarify exactly where these bathrooms are so that we can. Thank
So
you.
The bathroom is between the preschools. There's
Preschool.
probably 20 to 25 students that share it between the two preschools.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
Rooms. Yeah, rooms.
If you got to talk, you got to go to the mic. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Does that help, Mrs. Cantwell?
Yeah, but I mean, as we all know, a system doesn't always apply to preschoolers. I mean, if they have to go, I mean, you can't just say it's not your turn. I just feel like,
They do. They
Yeah.
take their turns. They do have
Wow.
a system, and if really need be, they can go down the hallway with teacher or para assistants.
okay.
It is tough,
Yeah, it is. It's tough.
but it's a big space, and it could hold 2 toilets.
Yeah. So that's definitely a priority issue. Okay, thank you.
And I'll just add, when we went through, so I sit ex officio on the Facilities and Asset Committee, and I got to do the tour of ECS. The teachers are very much in favor of any solution we can find to help them, because I'm sure this is added stress to them and to the kids. So I appreciate that Steve's trying to find free labor, because that sounds better. But can we get a motion so start there, but if we can't get free services from, what did you say, an architect or some kind of a
Plumbing engineer.
that we look into hiring somebody to help us develop plans so that we can try to move forward and solve this problem. I just don't want to push it off for a month and have it sit. So can I ask for a motion? Somebody can paraphrase. Donna? Oh, use your mic so Lisa's taking notes from this.
I make the motion that we follow up on this and consult either a plumbing engineer or an architect so that we can move forward with this. Did
Thank
I
you.
say that right?
Perfect. Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Lamb. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Abstaining? Okay.
So just to confirm, we'll start with Steve. Mr. Heisman, you'll start with
Yeah, if
your
you-
contacts.
if
For,
you get
for
me-
free
We'll come in.
first.
Yeah, if you get me just the general as-built current dimensions, I'll just see, they can do it a high level, check for ADA compliance, and then if they can put a stall, maintain ADA and a sink in the same facility.
Well, they won't be able to put 2 toilets and a sink and meet ADA. That we know for sure.
Yeah,
We can put 2 toilets in there, one being ADA and the other one not
Not
being
being
ADA,
ADA.
so it still meets ADA compliant. But what that creates is a sink that's outside of that space, but it's in the classroom, maybe 30,
Yeah,
40
which-
feet across the classroom where the sinks are. That's where the challenge becomes.
yeah.
Right now, it's a toilet and a sink, and it's large enough to create 2 toilets, but it's not large enough to create 2 toilets and a sink in the same space without going back to something major. There's a little ante room before you go into the bathroom, if you remember
Yeah,
the
yep.
site, which is just got cubbies, so a sink,
In there.
for all intents and purposes, a sink could be placed here, but bring in a plumbing and a drain to that area through concrete.
Yeah.
Again,
It's a challenge. It's
It is.
doable, but it's a challenge.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
I'm glad we're going to move forward and hopefully have a professional help
Yeah.
us navigate this problem. But at least I really want to be responsive to the teachers and
The needs.
to the kids. None of us like to wait in line to use the bathroom, and if you're 3 or 4 years old, I can't imagine. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rosano.
you're welcome.
All right. Just discussion of the Facilities and Asset Committee procedure on use of surplus funds. And I'm going to ask Mr. Heisman, handed us all language, draft language that was proposed, but maybe you could walk us through this, Steve, and just tell us what the proposal is, and then we can have some discussion.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of, rather than reading the whole thing to you, the intent of the proposal is if there's additional CNR funds left over from a project. A perfect example here was the exit signs. We budgeted roughly 90,000 and it was 20. So we had 70 grand left over from that project. The goal here would be for that additional funding that's still available to go back to either the next highest priority planned capital project or an emergency project. And that would be town-wide, right? It wouldn't be just the Board of Ed projects. They would be prioritized moving forward. And it would go to the next highest priority plan project that wasn't essentially allocated funds for this current year. So if it was like a 2026 project that had additional funds, it would look to the next project on the list that isn't currently scheduled to get funded. So that's the intent of the language.
Is this different or the same as what we,
This is the same as I read, and I printed the Word file directly from the email that I sent out.
Okay. Thoughts, comments, questions? All right. I have one. Oh, Mrs. Lamb, you go first.
I was just going to say, it would be nice if we could add the Board of Ed as one of the approvers.
I think you read my mind because that was exactly my comment.
Yeah,
Either the
talked about it.
superintendent of schools or the Board of Ed should be included as the assets will be coming likely 50% from. Has this gone through town council yet, Mr. Heisman?
So it went to town council and then got tabled for, essentially for us to review it. So once we have feedback, we'll amend it at the Facilities and Asset Committee and then pass it to the town council.
Okay, so I have a question on that then, because it's got town manager and town council on this, but then it has, and Board of Finance. Board of Finance doesn't have a hired professional. Should we recommend, because I want to go back to the town council with a recommended language change. Do we want to see superintendent and Board of Ed added to match town manager and town council?
Get my head around that.
Okay.
I'm
Are you okay with
not
that?
I'm not opposed to.
Oh.
Or do we pare it down to town council, Board of Finance, Board of Ed?
Yeah.
It's a lot of bodies to approve.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the three boards because
Yeah.
the superintendent and the
Can
town
put
manager
their
are
input.
represented
Yeah.
within.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be okay with that recommendation. Oh, Mrs. Maddie.
I won't go into the Oxford comma rule, but it's really starting to irritate me because frankly, if you're gonna do 3 bodies, unless 2 of those bodies, as the way it's written, and that would be that in order for this to be okayed, it would have to be the town council and the Board of Finance. You really need that last comma before the and. That's the Oxford comma rule. And it should always apply unless you're talking about macaroni, Kraft macaroni and cheese. They go together. So they don't have commas between them. Do you see what
Okay.
I'm saying?
I follow you, so we will amend before
Well,
we
I mean-
put this on. Let's have Lisa fix this so that it's grammatically correct.
Yeah. But
Eh.
it should just be I think it should just be the 3 bodies as we just discussed.
Is that a motion?
I have to make a motion for that?
Well, we have to give this back, so it has to be formalized.
Oh, I'll make
You
a
can make the
motion.
motion.
I'll
That's
make
all I'm
the
saying.
Is there any other?
Yeah, let's have some
Oh,
more
I'm
discussion.
sorry. Mrs. Lamb has another question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped.
Yeah, just one last question. Are there any issues from, I don't know, I guess a legal standpoint? So if the town has voted on a town budget and the town has voted on a Board of Ed budget, if we're putting surplus funds back into a pool, are there any issues with that, or have we already?
I don't believe so
Cross
because
that
the
bridge.
CNR is essentially town budget, right? So it's
Okay.
town
Oh, that's-
managed.
Town?
Well, the
thought
CNR
it
is
was the
town
board,
funds,
too.
right? We recommend projects for the CNR funds, and then
Oh, it's town
and it's
only?
town
Okay.
only funded.
Okay.
Technically, it's all of our money, right? So it doesn't really matter.
No, I know, but I just, you know,
no,
from
I
a,
hear you.
yeah.
Legal perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, the CNR
Yeah.
doesn't belong to any one board.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not for projects that we have funded that now have surplus on.
Correct.
That might have been my
So like,
misunderstanding.
yeah,
Okay.
if it's in
Okay.
our budget, remains in
It
our budget.
stays in our budget.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Peace. Yep. Thank you.
Good point.
Mrs. Cantwell and then Mr. Zabrowski.
So I just have
No,
two
you're good.
things. So if what we're doing is, we'd be removing town manager and just having town council, board of finance, and board of ed. First, that's my first question, yes, we're removing town manager.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Second is, does this all inclusive, like, all three have to agree? What if one of these bodies is not recommending it, then what happens? So, cause the way it's worded, upon recommendation by, it'll say the town council, board of finance, and board of ed, such funds may be appropriated. So is that indicating that all three councils, like, what if we get in a situation where it's not all three? Is
That's a
this-
very good question,
That's
Mrs.
right.
Cantwell.
I mean, are we only gonna allocate it if all three agree to it? And then, I don't know, this wording can,
Because you'd have to have an and or an or.
I think Mr. Schuman has an answer to that, but no? Or do you have another comment?
I'm looking at it, we're talking, I don't think it has to be approved, because you have a CNR, certain things make the cut, things are left off of it. But is this referring to just the list? We just go to the next one on the list, so it's not like we have to approve it. I mean, it's the next one up on the list. So I think we're making, you're getting.
The
over
CNR's
top.
already approved by us and, like,
Yeah,
we make
if
our
There's a
recommendations.
list and there's 100 things on it, we're gonna fund 10.
But-
If there's surplus in the 8th one, then you just go to the 11th. So I don't think anyone has to approve it, I just think it just goes to the next one on the list. I think we're making a lot of who's gonna approve it. The list already exists.
So the challenge is this emergency or unforeseen priorities. So one of those groups could make a case that there's an emergency project that should supersede another. And I think that's probably where the debate would come in, or the approvals, but Mr. Zabrowski might have an answer.
I'm actually just thinking these are great points as we're kind of spitballing this, but excuse me. You're right. The or emergency or unforeseen priority capital needs is kind of tricky. Like that does throw a twist in it. So it maybe should be worded: such funds will be appropriated to the next highest priority planned capital project, unless there is an emergency or unforeseen priority capital need, in which case the 2/3 of these three boards need to agree to allot it to that. Does that make sense? Like, I think you make a good point. Like, with the list is already there. This isn't about approving a list. So if there's extra, something's budgeted for 100,000 and only costs 50, the 50,000 goes back, it should automatically go to the next thing on the list, unless there's an emergency or unforeseen expense that's not on the list, right? And then the three boards should each, and then 2/3, I would suggest 2/3 of the three boards in agreement.
You don't even have to say 2/3 because an action is by a majority vote.
that's
So I
right.
think you're fine with that. I like your wordsmithing. I think that makes sense. One of the issues we had with the exit signs in particular was we had $70,000 in surplus, but if the next project costs $300,000, that $70,000 was not going to be enough to make that project come to fruition. So then the discussion was, well, there's a $50,000 project right underneath it. Do you do the $50,000 project? And there's got to, in my mind, be a little bit of flexibility allowed
Yeah,
around that.
read the last sentence for that concern.
Eligible funds within the current fiscal year.
Right,
So
but
that
what
covers
happens?
that, right?
Yeah, but what happens if your next project on the list is a $300,000 project?
So that goes to the next one down.
And it just
right?
keep-
'Cause you have to, it's gotta fit and it's gotta be ready to start.
Immediate.
Or,
So-
or I guess if it's for us, we could potentially say, well, this project that costs $300,000 is maybe more important than one that we already had approved, and have, this is living. This has
Yeah.
to have a little bit
Agreed,
of
agreed.
flexibility and a little bit of give and take, because capital projects, the costs change over time. They come and go. There's, projects become prioritized differently depending on whether there's a No.
And to be
air
honest,
quality report that we have to address.
and to be honest with you, like this whole thing, right? It's I said I wouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's a little cart before the horse, right? It's, where's the whole process? So that's something that needs to be ironed out, but like if there's additional funds, like we had this issue with additional funding, so I was trying to kind of capture that issue right now. But eventually the game plan is to have the full process for CNR requests and approvals written out, and this will become part of it, and then maybe amended too. So like you said, it's a living document.
But I agree, it's a little out of context. Instead of having, this is the way the CNR project is, process is gonna work, would be helpful.
Yeah,
And then this is a piece of it.
correct. We'll get there, so.
Yeah.
But at this
I-
point, like, you know, if there is additional funds, like, right, how are we gonna allocate it?
That's the
goal.
point.
Yeah,
And that's because it came up.
correct.
And I think Mr. Zabrowski is gonna make a motion and wordsmith this for us. Is that correct?
I'm going to read what I've got first, and then if everyone wants to play with it, then after that we'll go with the motion as long as we're okay with it. And again, I'm doing this on the fly. So, for any capital project with an appropriation in the current fiscal year that is projected to have a surplus, the surplus should be identified as soon as there is reasonable confidence in the remaining funds. Once identified, the surplus shall be returned to the CNR fund and made available for reallocation. Such funds may be or will be appropriated to the next highest priority planned capital project, except in the event of an emergency or unforeseen priority capital need, in which case a recommendation will be made collectively by the Town Council, the Board of Finance, and the Board of Education. I put all my commas correctly according to APA.
Keep going, the last sentence.
Right, and then the caveat is eligible projects must be available to begin within the current fiscal year and must not exceed the available surplus amount.
I'm good with that, but do we want to change, because you said something about a vote or approved by the boards, because a recommendation,
I just said a recommendation will be made collectively by the three boards. It's, again, we're on the fly
I'm
here,
fine
so
with
we want to
that.
adjust it.
everybody, does that sound good? Okay, so can we accept Matt's reading as a motion?
I make a motion that
You
we
don't have to read it all again.
adjust the proposed reading to what I just stated.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Schuman. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Abstaining? Thank you. Thank you, Steve, for carrying this. Thank you, Matt, for the wordsmithing. Thank you, Donna, for the grammar. Thank you, Lori, for raising the questions. Very helpful. If Matt does it wrong, Donna knows where he lives, so. I have no doubt. Okay, we're going to move us on to discussion about the ESS program at the elementary level. I'm going to ask Mrs. O'Leary to come up and present, and I wonder if we could possibly pull up the data that was sent by ESS so that we could look through it.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, while Steve is pulling this up, I'll just provide context to just to remind everybody where we are. We met with Effective School Solutions. Sorry, I keep calling it Essential. Effective School Solutions. They came and presented a proposal to expand their services into our elementary school, into Ennis Stevens. We had subsequent conversation and I think received multiple iterations of data based on questions we asked at that meeting. So we asked Mrs. O'Leary to walk us through what they've presented so that we can make some decisions about if that we think that that's the best use of the resources.
So let me expand on that before I go through the data. When we last met, it was explained that it's a 2-year grant that ESS would be provided. They would get the money directly to them. So we wouldn't deal with any of the funding in that sense. They would provide us the 2 years of 2 clinicians, in the elementary level, which was what our initial thought, that the elementaries would need this. We hadn't decided where yet. I did have a further conversation with ESS regarding the contract. They sent me an addendum that would go right along with our contract that we already signed for the middle and high. And the addendum is 1 year for now. Obviously, we can sign on for another year to include 2 clinicians at the elementary level, again, not decided where, as well as sustainability efforts and plans that we can work with them on, understanding that after the 2 years, the funds would likely not be here. The total market value of the services that they would be providing us would be about $300,000, which is about $150, give or take, per clinician. Each clinician can take up to 12 students. They've actually increased that. It used to be 10, but now they have a range between 10 and 12 to allow for more students, to be serviced per clinician. So with that, any questions before I go through the data? So they provided us data for the high school, the middle school, and then they provided us data with the elementary programming that we don't yet have, but they looked at all of their elementary programs. Just to name a few, they have a few in Connecticut, but they have a lot in New Hampshire and New Jersey right now. They have 36% of their programming is in elementary. I'm kind of jumping ahead, not what's on that specific slide, but that's okay. So they also provided us longitudinal historical data of the elementary, success rates, we can call them, that they're seeing right now. So we can start with the high school if you would like. So let's skip to 4. Yeah, thanks. So this data, again, it's all averages, and we're looking at absences, unexcused, to go down. We're looking at GPAs to go up, and we're looking at discipline referrals to go down. So they derive this data based on 22-23 school year, 23-24, and 24-25. It's trending in the positive direction in each area. For absences, they're going down. The blue is the baseline of the students in that cohort before they received services, and the yellow is after they received services, in what the data is showing that absences are going down, the GPAs are going up, and discipline referrals are going down. Yeah.
Can you just remind us how many students are in this cohort?
Which one?
Well, we're looking at the high school data, so how many students does this data represent?
I don't have the exact number when they pulled this data. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Or in general, how many
Yeah, in
students
general,
are
20.
in?
Oh, 20.
Okay.
But it ebbs and flows between 18 and 20, so I'm not exactly sure when they pulled the data, the exact number, but I can get that for you.
And it's 2 clinicians that are providing the services?
At the high school, yes.
Okay.
We can go to the middle school slide. So the middle school is currently 10 students max and 1 clinician. Again, absences, we want absences unexcused to go down, GPAs to go up, and disciplines referrals, which are log entries that are entered into Power School, to go down. And this is the data that they derived for us from 23-24 and 24-25, because we've only had them in the middle school for 2 years. Thank you. And then again, the elementary is, I know, where we're having the biggest discussion regarding implementing this in our schools, and this is the data that they pulled based on all of their elementary programming. They don't track GPA, obviously, in elementary schools, so they track attendance with the unexcused absences and discipline. Again, the blue is the baseline, and the yellow is after they've received services. Thank you, Steve. questions?
I'm not really familiar with these numbers, but I think are those significantly different? You know, these numbers. I mean, they look pretty small.
They're small. They're small.
I mean, it's
They're small.
significantly.
Mm-hmm.
Is a significant change, or
I would
or-
say significant is, could be a term that we use subjectively, right? So
Okay.
I would say they're small progressions, but they're progressions. And I mean, I know we've talked, not just numbers, but we've talked, I think, at large, what the programs look like at the middle high, and the support that they're providing to students. It isn't always, as we say, apples to apples, right? Cohorts change. Do we think it's been successful in the middle high? Yes, it has. There has been growing pains. There has been hiccups. You know, we've had change in clinicians. We've asked for change in clinicians. But I do think, especially at the high school level, we're at a much better place where we were when we started 3 years ago, with the support that they're providing to students. So, but yeah, I agree with you. The numbers are small
Okay.
of gains. Yeah.
Mrs. Cantwell?
And just to point out too, it's a hard thing to measure. For example, if you have a student that got services and that prevented an outplacement, you know, how do you measure that because they were never outplaced? But what did you gain is, you know, that might not show up on a graph like this. So that's a hard thing to measure and show in a graph, but it is a huge gain.
Mm-hmm. And thank you. I actually, I spoke with Joanne today from ESS, and she also reminded me that in the elementary level, they do a lot more family work, maybe even more than we see now in the middle high, because that's where you really need that support for the little ones. Again, we haven't seen it because we don't have them in the elementary programming. I actually did reach out to a director who has programs in their elementary right now. I haven't gotten in touch with her yet, but I am excited and eager to talk with her about the success of their programming. So,
Mrs. Maddie, you had a question? Use your mic, though.
I'm curious, because I really don't know too much about this. We've had ESS in the district for 2 years,
3 at the high school, this was the 3rd year, and 2 at the middle school.
3 at the high school, 2 at the middle school, and this would be the first year at ECS.
ECS and or WIS, we would have 2
Okay, yes,
clinicians,
okay.
so we're kind of figuring
Okay.
out where we
And
can
then,
best.
according to the grant, we could potentially have them at both those elementary schools for 2 years. Okay. The teachers who have dealt with ECS in both middle school and high school, what have they said? Have they felt that
The
at
teachers
lea-
that have dealt with
the
ESS,
teachers whose kids have been working with them, what do they think?
I would say not only teachers, but also mental health staff, our psychologists and social workers, have found at the middle high that it's definitely alleviated some of the support off of their caseload, so allowing them more time to service the students that they have. And it's really just, it's a very unique cohort of students, right? The 10 students at the middle school and the 20 at the high school are the tier 3 students that need the most intensive support. And these clinicians, because their caseloads are small, much smaller than our psychologists and social work caseloads, as we know, they really can work with these students all day, every day, after hours, on the weekends, providing that family support as well, you know, parent training. So I would say it's a win-win on all levels with the teachers and the other service providers in the buildings. And what I've wanted to do is grow the program so it feels like ESS is a part of our community, and I do finally feel like we've gotten there, especially at the high school. And they say everything takes 3 to 5 years, so year 3, and it has been really, really successful for the students. You're welcome.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
Family services. So you talked about family work. Can you describe what that looks like and what we've done to engage families at the middle school, high school level? What the participation has been? How has that helped to support students and bridge that relationship between school and family and home?
They provide family therapeutic support either throughout the day, just as you would with a student that has counseling. They would have families come in, meet, you know, with the student, meet individually just with the clinician. They have night hours, typically 5:30, on Tuesdays is what the high school usually has available for their parents. They do parent training nights. They do dinners. They again meet with families after hours. They do a lot of home visits during the school day. We'll have a clinician have to go out in the morning. Students not getting out of bed. They'll drive to their house, get in, get through the door, get in the house, spend hours sometimes trying to get them there. So that's huge. Again, I think at the elementary level, because we have more externalizing behaviors, I would say, it might look a little bit different. They may be providing, which is huge, that support in the home, how to deal with these students with the behaviors that aren't coming to school, that are not getting on the bus, that are, being violent. So, I'm only hopeful that would continue in the elementary, but they get up close and personal, I would say, with the families on a level that we might not be able to do because our psychologists and social workers are so bound to the buildings, right? They need to be in the buildings and available for crisis. But these clinicians are able to go out and spend quite a few hours if they need in the homes, working with the families, working with community partners, DCF, and their outside, therapies as well. So did that answer a little bit of your question?
It did.
Okay.
My worry about the elementary school is just the presentation that we had 2 months ago.
Okay.
Was that this is relatively new to
Yeah.
them and that they don't have a lot of experience. So I don't know how many kids are captured in this data or how many school programs are captured in the data that they presented, but they did say this is a new venture for them, and it's very different to provide clinical services to teenagers than it is to provide clinical services to 3, 4, 5-year-olds. So that was, I think, the thing I left the last meeting really concerned about is how much experience do they have, how much support are the clinicians going to get in this area, and if that is the best use of, because we don't have to put the resources into the elementary school.
Correct.
So I guess where I left was, why would we do that instead of putting more resource into what we know they're already skilled at and they've shown some effectiveness, and in schools that they've already worked in. So is it better to put the resource for the 2 years at the middle school, high school level versus at the elementary school level where we'd sort of be the guinea pig? So that was my concern, and I didn't feel great about the answers we got back from them when I left the meeting. So I don't know if you feel any better about it now, but Matt, I think Matt's going to respond to me, or you? Yes? Okay.
I don't disagree with you. I left that meeting also feeling a little bit of trepidation towards moving this into elementary, given the fact that they admittedly had limited experience doing so. At the same time, the counter argument is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think across districts, across the state, and probably the country, we're seeing a lot more challenging behaviors at the elementary age than we ever have in the past, and it's growing. And the other counter argument is, if you can teach elementary age students the coping mechanisms to deal with what is triggering those behaviors and help work with their families to help them put things in place at home as well. Because the average parent who doesn't have a background in education, they don't necessarily know how to manage some of these more aggressive outward behaviors. If you can get those things in place, then you actually over time eliminate the need for them to happen at the middle school and high school level. So if you can get them at a younger age. So the experiential part I'm with you on. I also see the value in trying to add it in there. I might want to hear a little bit more from ESS about what kind of training they're going through and what they're doing to make sure that they are well prepared for this, given their limited experience. But I, for one, am still I'm still on board with getting something in place at the elementary level. Some days elementary classrooms are on fire.
And Matt, yeah, thank you. Can I just, to piggyback, training-wise, they are using all the staff that are at their elementary schools. They're using safety care. Their last resort is hands-on, right? And we know that ESS doesn't typically do hands-on. They don't want to, jar that relationship between the student and the clinician. But they do use safety care, and their clinicians are trained in safety care, which I don't know if you're familiar, but it's huge on the de-escalation strategies versus the hands-on. But to your question, Alicia, they're in 129 schools. I don't know what's elementary schools out of 349, right? That's their total. They're in 129. a few in Connecticut. She was going to get me the list of the Connecticut. I didn't get it yet, though, from her, for the elementary schools. A lot in New Hampshire, she said, in New Jersey.
That's helpful, because that wasn't, if they had
Oh,
shared
okay.
that, I wouldn't feel so
Okay.
nervous.
Oh,
But
yeah,
when
yeah,
they said
yeah.
it in the meeting, they said it was very new to them. So that's helpful. I would like to ask Ms. Bennington to weigh in on her perspective, given one of the potential schools that would have a clinician would be her school. Is that okay?
And also Ms. DeTuno, if she wants to chime in, she could also, yeah.
I definitely, there's a lot to consider here, and the point that Matt just made is one that resonates with me, that getting that early start with supporting students with social emotional struggles, behavioral struggles will help support our middle school and high school. I do really agree that we are seeing more significant behaviors than we've seen in the past. I've been in elementary education for 25 years now, and I could never have anticipated 25 years some of the unique circumstances that we're encountering today. So I think Lucia wouldn't mind me speaking for her as well. We'll take all the help that we can get. I'm always hesitant when there isn't, if you had asked me this question half an hour ago before I looked at the numbers where it's almost half of the schools they're servicing are elementary, I'm much more confident. I agree with it. When we met in May, it sounded like there was a limited experience there. And as a building leader, primarily, it's always concerning when we have a new program coming in and how much management is that, or is it going to be lost time with students? But given the amount of experience they have, I don't know that it's a terrible thing to at least pilot. And with 2 years free, let's check it out, see if it works. If it doesn't work, we can come back to the drawing board. We can talk about, building our own program. We don't know. So I don't think it's a terrible idea.
And ESS is happy to come back and discuss. I know, Matt, you said about training that their elementary clinicians have. I'd be happy to coordinate that too.
Thank you.
I just
Mrs.
have-
DeTuno, do you want to share your thoughts?
I can also echo what Mrs. Bennington just said. It's so important at the early ages to get that early start and teach our little ones the skills and the coping skills, but also the parents. A big piece of this is parenting. They don't know what they don't know. Students act up. They're looking for resources. We might have a situation at school, and we come together as a team during the day, but our school psychologist and our social worker and our classroom teachers have lots on their plates. If we had something like this, we would have our most needy kids in this program. That's how I'm foreseeing it and hearing, but I do want to learn more about it. Being able to help triage what needs to happen, but also to work with the families. It's almost like a chaser. You need to chase the resources, stay up on what can help and best support our students. So I think it would be a positive thing, but again, I'd like to hear more about, the ins and outs of how it's going to work before it actually, and also at ECS, we have to find space too.
But that was another question I had, is where do you even do this? I think Mr. Heisman has a question.
Just really more of a comment. I know one thing too is, like, we've held these clinicians accountable in the past, and we've made moves if they're not the right fit. So I would think we can do that here as well if there's an issue. And then just echoing again what Lucille just had to say, the family side, right? The family support is huge. I have parents reaching out to myself and my wife, like, how do you guys handle certain things? So, like, that piece of the pie, I think, will be huge for that age group and people that don't have the resources and want somewhere to go.
Can I just ask for clarification on the cost? Did you say it was $150,000 per clinician?
Well, that's how I equate. It's about $300,000 of services, but if you divide that by 2 clinicians, right?
Okay.
So it's about 150 with everything that is all encompassed with that. Of course, we could spend less on a social worker that we would hire on our own, but it's more than just that. So for the whole service, the whole package, it's 150 per clinician with the PD hours. Matt? Oh, sorry. It's more than just the individual, right? It's the program itself. But yes, if it's 300 and you divide that by 2 and you're getting 2 clinicians, it's right. But again, it's hard to quantify, I would say.
Matt?
I was just going to say, like, one of the advantages that this program has is with regard to that family component is that they are available in the evening hours. Our contracted employees are not. So, like, I'm with you. I am, I'm a penny pincher. I don't want to spend money we don't need to, but it's a long-term investment in our school culture and climate. Is how I see it.
Okay, I'm not against this. I just want to make sure we have eyes wide open, because in 2 years, when the grant goes away, we are going to be in a position where we're either going to have to maintain or reduce the services. So I just want us to be aware of the expense, because it's right now, the extra support is being paid for through this grant, but that's short term. So if we have to think about sustainability, that's my concern. So I just want to make sure we all know what the costs are and are thinking long term if this is the direction we need to go, or do we consider these 2 years a pilot and really dig into what are some of those best practices, and in 2 years, if we have to bring something like this in-house, what do we want to replicate in-house? And I think we just have to be open-minded about what are the future models for how we're going to address the behavioral health needs, the exceptional needs of all of our students. So I'm not disagreeing with doing this for the next 2 years. I do think we should put a clinician in Woodside and a clinician in ECS, because I think we would do a disservice to our Woodside population if we skipped over Woodside and just put 2 in ECS. So that would be my recommendation.
That would be my recommendation as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this? Lori?
I mean, I was just going to say, we've talked about this for a long, long time, 2 meetings, so I feel like let's just do, it's a free for the first 2 years. I don't see why we would ever turn this down. I hear everybody's points, and I agree with what everybody's saying, but I just feel like, why would we not do this? So I think it's time that we move
are
on
you
this.
making a motion that
I'm
we
making a
recommend
motion,
we
yes.
move forward with ECS for a clinician in Woodside and a clinician in ECS?
Exactly.
Okay. I'm happy to second your motion.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Alicia, I agree.
Let us vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then we can talk more. Unless you want to add before we vote.
No.
Okay. I already seconded, so all in favor? Anybody opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Mrs. O'Leary.
I just had like a really good thought, because what you just said. I think that being flexible and open-minded after the 2 years, we all have to do that, right? And I am always open to the conversation. Is this working? What can we do different? How can we obviously spend less, to provide the same service? So I think being open-minded and seeing how the next at least year goes is a wonderful idea. So thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Moving us on to some more routine items. In your package, you have approval of a new club or activity, and it is for the Model UN that we talked about a couple meetings ago. Dr. McLean described it, so there's a proposal in your packet. It is reference C. Is there a motion to approve the request to create a new club, which is the Model United Nations? Oh, Mrs. Maddie is making.
This is a wonderful program.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful program. I'd like to make a motion to approve this one.
Thank you.
Model
Is there a
UN.
second? Thank you, Mr. Schuman. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Abstaining? Excellent. Next action item is approval of minutes and motions from our June 1st special meeting. It's reference D. Can I please have a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Cantwell. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Lamb. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Abstaining? Okay. We're just going to keep going through the list. Approval of minutes and motions for our June 2nd regular meeting. It is reference E in your packet. Is there a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Cantwell. Thank you, Mr. Schuman. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion for approval of the minutes and motions for the June 9th special meeting, reference F in your packet. Is there a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Lamb. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Zabrowski. All in favor? I am going to abstain. I was not at that meeting.
I have to
Mrs. Maddie
abstain.
has to abstain.
I
She
was
was not
absent
at
as
that
well.
meeting. Okay. Approval of minutes and motions for the June 15th special meeting. Man, we met a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Is there a motion to approve,
Yeah.
please?
I know.
Thank you, Mrs. Cantwell. Seconded by Mr. Schuman. All in favor? Aye. Anybody abstaining? Okay. Last one. Approval of minutes and motions, June 16th special meeting. Reference H in your packet. Is there a motion?
Oh my gosh, it's going so fast.
Mr. Zabrowski, second by Mr. Heisman. All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstaining? Abstaining, Mrs. Lamb. Thank you. Our principal reports are in our packet. That is K in your agenda. And then the last item is discussion of a possible board retreat. So, Mr. Heisman, I'm going to turn this one to you. Oh, you're welcome.
Preparation.
You asked me to put it on the agenda. Don't let him fool you.
All right. So I think I've talked to some of you about this. I don't know if I've talked to everybody, but I think it would be good for us to have a board retreat meeting where we meet as a board and invite Mr. Lucas as well to discuss kind of just what we want to do as a board moving forward, some of our objectives, and you know how we run our meetings, have that discussion, and just get all on the same page and be improvers instead of approvers.
I like that idea.
So.
Oh, it's a retreat. It's a retreat.
So
Food and
also
relaxation.
I did have a brief conversation with Mary from CABE, and they would be available to come next meeting if we could get it on the agenda to discuss what that would look like, kind of lay out, you know, general like planning, like have that discussion, let us know what it would look like, so it's not like we're just throwing something together. They do not do it through CABE, actually. They do it on their own, so there would be a separate cost. I don't know exactly. They couldn't, depending on what we decide to do, they would provide a price, but we could also use Nick from CABE as a free service as part of our membership. So Mary and Jack thought it would be very beneficial being through the recruitment process, knowing kind of some of the things that came through the profile for the superintendent, and you know, basically already having a relationship with all of us, that it would be a benefit. But they'd be they'd come either way to discuss it with us next meeting if we wanted to.
Thoughts? Donna's got her mic on. Do you have thoughts? Oh, no, you just have your mic on.
No thoughts, but I'm ready to speak anytime.
Mrs. Lamb?
I actually think it's a great idea, and as a newer member of the board, I think it's it is hard coming in when you have a fully functioning board and you're all running and you're all pretty much aligned and have all the background. It's tough coming in. I mean, you've all been great helping us get up to speed, but having that kind of level setting and are there any changes we'd like to make and be focused on, kind of do that together. I think it would be really wonderful and helpful.
So, Mrs. Campbell?
So, is this like a evening type of thing, or are we all going away for the weekend together?
It's a week in Cancun.
Are you getting the trip? Talking with Mary briefly about it, we could do different options, right? If we wanted to do several evenings or a evening, or maybe like a full like Saturday morning or something like that. Whatever we felt would work best for us, and they would run through that next week, and we could all come up with what would work best for all of us. Cancun would be great.
Other thoughts? Mr. Schuman is giving me a thumbs up. Okay. I would suggest we ask Mary and Jack, she does it with Jack, Mary and Jack to come and talk with us at the next meeting and tell us kind of what they've done with other boards. I think that would be really helpful. What's worked, what hasn't worked. They know us well. We also have a relationship with CABE, so if their costs are prohibitive, then we have another option, but I think it would be a really good idea. We all spent a lot of time together over the last few months. What's another morning or an evening?
Do you want me to reach out to them, or would you prefer?
I'm happy to reach out to
yeah.
Mary and ask
Yeah.
her to come to the next
Okay.
regular meeting that we have and talk a little bit about some of their history and experience. I think that's a great idea. We've talked about this before. We've talked about this around strategic goals and budget alignment and what are our priorities and making sure we're all on the same page. So I think this is a great first step. Mrs. Maddie.
Steve, have they done a lot of these? Mary and Jack?
Yeah, so they do quite a bit. I don't know the exact numbers, but obviously they'll share with us next week. And I think they do it a lot when they're the part of the search committee, because then they get to know kind of all the board members and the superintendents.
Okay,
So
good. That's good to know.
Thank you for raising that. I think it's a great idea. We'll add it to our agenda for the next meeting and we'll invite Mary and Jack. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Mrs. Campbell.
That's okay. No, she was first. Yeah, I have a good friend on a neighboring, on a board in a neighboring town, and they do this. Actually, they meet a couple times a year and do this. So she recommends doing it. But I was just curious on, Mike, your perspective. Have you had any experience doing this with your current board, or do you know? Yes. Yeah, but good. Like, do you have any input on this?
I think it's a great idea. It's a great chance for us to grow our relationship, and I've done it with previous boards as like a workshop. It's hard to get everybody together, so we typically pick like a Saturday morning and try to do it.
You can use my mic if you want.
Or just use Lori's mic.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing Lisa's taking minutes off of what's in the mic and she won't.
Lisa, this is what I said. Yes, I have some experience with previous boards doing this. We typically call them workshops, and we try to pick a Saturday morning because that tends to be the best time to corral everybody, and it's a little less pressure, have donuts, some muffins, coffee, and do it that way. That's my experience, but I think it's a great idea. There we go.
All right, I'm sold.
I think we just got Donna on the donuts and the muffins. All right, and Donna's volunteering to bake, so that's great. All right, so I don't think we need a motion on this. I think we'll just ask Lisa to add it to the next agenda, and we'll figure out what this looks like and talk to Mary and Jack about their experiences. Great idea. Okay, thank you. Look, we're zooming along, everybody. Board committee reports, we have none because policy has not met. We do need to get back on a rotation for both policy and for facilities, so I will talk to Lisa just about making sure that we get these scheduled. Dr. McLean's not here today, so that's, I think we're fine to wait until the next meeting, but I don't know if the next meeting should be a policy or facilities. But Lisa will, so.
I would just say for the next facilities and technology meeting, we definitely would want to be looking at the 5-year capital plan updates. So can someone please make Claudio aware?
Lisa, will you please make Claudio aware that for the next Facilities and Technology Committee, we need to make sure that we look at the 5-year capital plan updates.
Thank you.
It is definitely going to be needed, particularly for the Facility and Assets Committee. See, Lisa, we miss you, so we're still talking to you. Okay. Topics for future agendas and possible action items. So we've got July and August discussion to look at honors classes at CHS. I know this is something Catherine feels really passionate about, so I want to make sure that we do get to discuss that, and we'll have to make sure that Mr. Kuckel can be at that meeting. Also, challenge. Oh, go ahead, Donna.
I just want to make, I'm also very interested in this, and I was looking at the, I think the program, it's got to be out. The program of studies has to be out for the high school because they'll be back before you know it. Don't say that, Don. Anyway, I would also like, however we approach this, for those of us who perhaps aren't as familiar, and I'm not familiar because my kids are as old as Steve, I would like to, that's so old, I wish I were that age again. I would definitely like to have some history and background on what's happened, because when my kids were in school, there were honors classes. So I'd like to see what that change has been. I don't know if Mr. Kuckel can do that, if he's been around that long, but I'd appreciate that.
Nope, good point.
Okay.
So, and that actually aligns exactly with what Mrs. Lamb is saying, is that we sometimes assume that we know the history.
Yep.
And I have kids in the high school, and I don't know the history.
Yeah.
So it would be helpful to get that from them.
Good.
Okay. We also have report on challenging behaviors and interventions. This is the SRO report per legislation and talking about community partnerships. That is on the agenda for July and August. We have a lot for July, August, and this is our July meeting. But end of year board reports as well. And then September, we've got CNR items. And so actually think you guys should meet you guys should really meet in August so that you can present the CNR items in September, as well as board values, focus area, mission. I really think that ties into the retreat conversation. Anything else that we're missing that folks want to see added? We only went as far as July, August, and September, so we have a whole year of meetings, but I am excited to see what Mr. Lucas wants to weigh in on and wants us to discuss as well.
Yeah, I think it'll come out of the workshop as well.
Good point.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Comments, updates, and announcements from board members and administrators. Who would like to start? Matt.
Just that the way it turned out with my own kids' ages, I had the fortunate pleasure to attend the promotion ceremony from WIS to the middle school level. I had the distinct pleasure of attending the promotion ceremony from middle school to high school and the high school graduation. So I had the trifecta this year, and I got to tell you, I'm guessing that a lot of families don't understand, and they couldn't because they're not involved with it at the level that the educators are. The planning and the collaboration and the work, the teamwork that is necessary to pull those off in such a seamless fashion. Each of them had its own kind of unique flavor. Each of them was wonderfully run. The feedback from families that that I talked to who attended them was all just positive. So just thank you to everyone at the staffing level who worked so hard to put those events together, because every single one of them was great. And they were so great that you could not perceive the hard work that went in behind the scenes to make them happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it seems.
Right. It was like Disney. It was like Disney World, right? Like you don't know that the garbage cans empty into tunnels beneath Disney World, but the people who work there do, right? So it just that kind of a feel to it. All three were fantastic, and just thanks to all the staff who really worked hard to pull them off.
Thank you for bringing a Disney analogy into our meeting. We're very excited about that. Mrs. Lamb, anything? Mr. Heisman?
I just want to say thank you to the people that have been on the committee for hiring the director of finance. It's definitely been good effort. Thank you to Ramsey for stepping up to be the interim superintendent, and thank you to Mike for working pro bono for a bit. We appreciate it.
Mr. Schuman?
I'll second what Steve said.
All right. Mrs. Maddie, do you have anything to share? Now you just shut yourself off.
First of all, I was online when you were all online, but I must be Mr. Cellophane, because I'm talking about when our chairman was with Kelly. I didn't know who Kelly was, and I said, who is this? And I didn't recognize that as Kelly. But Catherine didn't say, oh, it's Donna, and you're not supposed to be doing this. And then all of a sudden the conversation, everyone ignored that I was even there, and the conversation was, where's Donna? She's following the rules.
Donna, you're calling us all out for not following the rules.
No, what I'm saying, but I thought, wait a minute, that's why I'm making mention of this. Isn't that our only private, our all private? What do you mean, no?
Everything's subject to.
But that's my private.
I'm going to move this conversation to executive session. We can talk about it. Okay. We will gladly. I will explain it to you in executive session. Lori.
I wasn't really there.
Okay. I have a couple. So Mrs. Turner does the high school graduation, and she is phenomenal. That's the only graduation I went to this year, but I've been in your place before. But just huge kudos to her. The way that she has those students, like they are a well-oiled machine by the time she's done, and somehow we had beautiful weather despite being in the middle of thunderstorms. We did not get thunderstorms. So just huge thank you to Mrs. Turner, and a huge thank you to Ramsey, because she stepped up, she offered to support us, and has just moved into this role flawlessly and has managed to keep a lot of balls in the air. And nothing is falling. And so we're so grateful, and done it with such a calm and a grace in light of many summer vacations. So you're not just juggling Enza's absence, but multiple others. So thank you for everything that you've done for us. And we are so excited to have Mike join us in a week.
6 days.
6 days. In 6 days. We can't wait.
6 days.
We can't wait. So thank you. Thank you. Yes, please.
I just wanted to thank the board for the opportunity. I appreciate the vote of confidence. It's been an incredible learning opportunity these last few weeks, and just getting to know Mr. Lucas, we are in for such a treat. Transition and change is always hard, but just having worked with him these last few weeks, I think I'm really excited about what's to come. Definitely going to miss where we were, but loving working with Mr. Lucas. So thank you to all of you who picked him. Really excited to see what the new beginnings will look like. So thank you again.
Thank you. And one last thank you for those that served on the committee to hire our new principal for the middle school. So lots of exciting things happening for Cromwell Public Schools. I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn our regular meeting, and then we can move into executive session. Mr. Zabrowski, motion?
To adjourn our regular meeting,
Miss,
move to executive session.
I think this is an enthusiastic second. She tried to beat you, but you.
With the invite of Mrs. Pennington and Mr. Lucas.
Thank you. Is that a second? Okay. All in favor? Okay. And now I need a motion to go into executive session. Motion from Mrs. Cantwell, seconded by Mrs. Maddie. All in favor? Okay. Moving into executive session with the invite of Mrs. Pennington and Mr. Lucas.